trying to define love for a long time, right? Paul has this little treatise on it in his first letter to the Corinthians that we hear at weddings all the time, as we should. That's a good extended definition. But one of Shakespeare's comedies, there's a song that begins, "What is love? 'Tis not hereafter. Present mirth hath present laughter. What's to come is still unsure." And he goes on to say, well, in delay there lies no plenty. Then come kiss me, sweet and 20, love's the stuff will not endure. Well, youth won't endure. But maybe that's not the best definition of love either, and it's probably not intended to be. I would say that love is a disposition that is attentive to other people, rather than thinking about how this date is going to work out for you or how this marriage is going to work out for you, whether it satisfies all the things that you had on your mental list, that you're thinking about how to make your wife's life better, how to make your kids' life better, how to make your students' lives better. I'm going to read a poem by John Frederick Nims. It's a very unusual poem, and he titles it Love Poem. And it's unusual because it begins this way. It sounds like an insult. He begins, "My clumsiest dear." Well, I've never read another love poem that begins like that, and you'd think she might be insulted. But let's hear the rest of it. "My clumsiest dear, whose hands shipwreck vases, at whose quick touch all glasses chip and ring, whose palms are bowls in china, burrs in linen, and have no cunning with any soft thing, except all ill at ease fidgeting people. The refugee uncertain at the door, you make at home. Deftly you steady the drunk clambering on his undulant floor. Unpredictable dear, the taxi driver's terror, shrinking from far headlights, pale as a dime, yet leaping before apoplectic streetcars. Misfit in any space, and never on time. A wrench in clocks in the solar system, only with words and people and love you move at ease. In traffic of wit expertly maneuver, and keep us, all devotion, at your knees. Forgetting your coffee spreading on our flannel, your lipstick grinning on our coat, so gaily in love's unbreakable heaven our souls on glory of spilt bourbon float. Be with me, darling, early and late. Smash glasses. I will study rye music for your sake. For should your hands drop white and empty, all the toys of the world would break. Okay, here's a grown-up, a husband, who has lived with this woman apparently for quite some time, and he's perfectly aware of her deficiencies, and he acknowledges them, doesn't pretend they're not there. But they don't matter. In fact, in some ways they endear her to him. And in any event, they're overshadowed, eclipsed by her expertise and care for people. Not so good with things, good with people. So, to repeat, I think that love is about being aware of other people's feelings and needs and desires. And while not ignoring your own, those come first. That's why we take vows when we get married. It's not always easy. It's an ongoing process. Bonnie and I, about 18 months ago, almost 2 years ago, took our 50th anniversary at a nice resort in San Diego, Lowe's, out on the island out there. And word got around that there were people here celebrating their 50th anniversary. And we had any number of conversations initiated by people who wanted to know, how did you do it? And apparently, to a lot of people, it seemed like a surprising achievement. Well, here's how you do it. You think about how you can serve each other. You forgive each other your faults. You apologize when you need to. You accept apologies when you need to. and you get on with your life. I got interested in her because I was walking across campus. This was at what's now Master's College. It was just a little bitty school then. I was walking across campus, and it was a warm September evening. And I heard this beautiful singing voice coming from somewhere. And so I followed my ear, and I looked into this room, and here's somebody playing the piano, and this cute little girl, 5 feet tall, maybe 5'1". And this amazing sound was coming out of this small person. I couldn't believe it. It was beautiful. So I just went in and sat down, and she looked at me, and I said, no, go ahead, that's great. I guess I'm a sucker for a good voice. And when it was done, I asked her out. So we walked over the hill. I didn't have a car. We walked over the hill into the village, and I had enough money to go to Dairy Queen, and I had worn my best sweater, white ski sweater, and I had a raspberry sundae, little, you got those little plastic spoons. The cup on it's about that big, so I'm trying to be really careful. I don't want to spill this on that white sweater. And I made it till the last bite, and then there was a mistake, and all the way down my white sweater on my first date with this cute girl, I had a big raspberry syrup spill. And she didn't seem to mind, so here we are almost 52 years later. Well, almost 55 years later. That's the best date story. Well, the most memorable one. I was astonished. So the question in the headline was something along the lines of, should you have sex after only one date? Wow, do you need to ask that question? But the story said, I think, something like 42% of the young people that they had interviewed, and some of them not so young. I mean, we're talking about people in their 20s, and even late 20s, I suppose, said, why wait till the first date? I thought, well, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, that is just amazing. And there are a number of answers for that. Certainly for Christians, Scripture says, well, sex means that you're one. And that doesn't just mean physically. That's what marriage is all about. Is sex an important part of marriage? Absolutely it is. But so are your finances, so are the way you talk to each other, so is bringing up kids. You're joined in all kinds of ways. And if you think you're not, see what happens when you get to divorce court. Find out, oh, yeah, there is joint interest in all kinds of things here. Or ask your kids. And second, it denigrates sex. What, this is like going out to dinner? It's supposed to be more important than that. It's supposed to be a whole lot more personal than that. There's supposed to be a whole lot more commitment than that. So, I think I would tell my students and my young friends, don't listen to what's being said in your generation out there. Millions of people are getting it wrong. Get it right. One of the young people in San Diego, he's working at a sandwich shop at the pool complex, who began to talk to me about this. He said, you're the couple? I said, yeah, we are. And he said, I'd like to do that, but I don't know. My generation is afraid of commitments. Well, that tells me a lot. And I'm sorry, but people are supposed to be committed to each other, not just in marriage, in all kinds of ways. I've made some commitments to you, and you to me. We have some agreements about how we're going to work together. If you don't come to class, I can't help you. If I don't come to class, you're not getting your money's worth. So those promises, those wedding vows, are to be said for a reason. And I would say, take them very seriously. It's not fun being married every day. There are days that you get on each other's nerves. There are days that you don't even like each other. You know what? There are days I don't even like me all that much. That's just how it is. And you understand that too. You have days like that where you've just done something that stupid. I'm irritated at myself, and I'm embarrassed. But to say, no, I'm afraid of commitment, so I don't know if I should get married, we'll just do things differently. Well, no wonder there are a lot of hurt, angry, disappointed people out there. Staying married isn't easy, but breaking up a marriage is a whole lot worse. So, I think it all gets back to watching out for other people. When people decide to get divorced, who are they thinking about? Maybe not thinking as carefully as they should about their kids. Certainly not thinking as carefully about the woman that you said you would love and be with until one of you died. If you don't feel good about how things are going, well, figure out how to make it go better. When you're sailing a ship to Tahiti, you're going to hit some storms along the way. It doesn't mean you jump overboard. Hang in there and figure it out. My guess is it's not fun every day to come to my class. Not every day. You've got other stuff to do too. Here's a little secret. Once in a while, I love my work. I love being here, and I like you, and I like being with you. But not every day, maybe. There's some days you wake up with a headache. There's some days you think, boy, if I had a week, I'd fly down to San Diego and get some sun. But no, I've made a commitment to the institution, to my students. I need to be here. It's no different in personal relationships. It's no different in a marriage. Make it work. Once you take certain behaviors off the table, I will say, if divorce is not in your vocabulary, if that's not an option, then you find another option. And it's too easy an option, in my opinion. It's too easy an option. And I know there are times women can't stay around if they're getting beaten. You can't be married to a drug addict. If a guy's gambling away the paycheck week after week after week, you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your children. But what do we read in the paper, weekly, I suppose, that rich, beautiful people in Hollywood that have been married are splitting up because they have irreconcilable differences. I don't even know what that means. You have a male and a female, there are some important differences that complicate things. We don't always see things the same way. Well, don't make them irreconcilable. Work on them. You think the next beautiful face is going to make you any different? No, you're still you. And I think that's where, those are the things that need to be tended to. Don't worry about fixing her. Fix you first. And then maybe you've got some platform to build on. All right, that's enough lecturing.